So now we're live on YouTube. Before we start, I need to explain a few things about Talk and Talk. We are a conversation platform where you can schedule classes or immersions, right? And come here and talk in any language. We have English, French, Italian, Spanish, and we talk about different topics every day. So you can schedule classes on our website and come here and watch our live. So today we're talking about bullying. So let's start with the first question. Rodrigo, what is a bully? Why do you think this thing that you say defines a bully?
Maybe I think bully is about something that characteristics of the person, maybe, and you say something about that. I think it's a kind of bullying, okay? Because if the people has a big nose, and you say, you has a big nose, and nose, yes, and, and it's not cool. And sometime in the college, in the school, the people do that. Okay. Thank you. That.
Yeah, that's true. I have a problem with a big nose because I have one, but I never suffered bullying because of that. I was just kidding, but it happens. And for you, Fernanda, what is a bully? Why do you think so?
I think bullying, it's all kind of comments and people makes about the other characteristics that it's not we can say normal, like in the standard of everybody of a community. So yeah, it's something, but I believe that everybody has something different. So it's what make us so diversity. So really a sense of community, sociable. But building for me is like is this to judge and do actually do bad comment, bad comment about someone characteristic.
Nice. Hello, Julia. Good morning. How are you today? Julia, can you hear me? Guys, can you hear me? Besides
Yes.
Julia, Rodrigo?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. So Julia and Sarah, now that you arrived, hello, good morning. So today, girls, we're talking about bullying, okay? And we are in the first question. Rodrigo and Fernanda have already answered it. So I'm going to ask Julia. Julia, for you, what is a bully? Why do you think so?
Hi, good morning. I think bullying is like when you make bad comments and when you try to humiliate someone because of their physical characteristics, usually happen in schools when you're a kid. I don't know, I think that's it.
That's it, thanks. And you, Sarah, for you, what is a bully?
Yeah, good morning. I'd say that it's someone with toxic behavior that tries to put themselves in a better place, or I don't know, they are willing to give others a bad time in life because they feel like they are superior in a way. So there is behavior that I don't support, and I think we should definitely talk about it.
Of course. That's it. Thank you, Sarah. So, guys, let's go to question number 2. And I totally agree with all of you. It's a toxic behavior and we should talk about it. And Julia said it happens mostly in schools, but sometimes it happens even when we're older. right? It can happen. So it's a crazy thing, and people are really bad to each other, right? Fernanda, do you think? Yeah, this is a question. Fernanda, do you think bullying only takes place at schools? Why or why not?
Yeah, I believe that is a start in schools when we are more younger, because I don't know, like Sarah said, the kids sometimes want to be better than the others and make some bad comments, extreme, especially when someone's more fat or super tall or something like that. But I believe this continues too in the adult phase, in the work too. So it's not in the work. I believe it's not more about the physical, but more about the knowledges, about the professional stuffs. They do bullying too. It's not about the physical, but it's possible too.
Yeah, that's it. Sarah, I saw you ask it here if I can share the question again. I'm trying. I don't know why it's not going. Let me try again one more time. Ta-da-dum. Now it's sending. The messages wasn't going. Ta-da-da. Here. Okay. So let's go to the next person. Rodrigo, do you think bullying only takes place at schools?
I think no, because at work I have already seen this, okay, like with the people is fat or very skinny, okay. Sometimes about behaviors, like if the person is very shy or very nerd, has a lot of bullying about this. Yeah, I think in other places has on the street too. Sometimes people was judging other person. Yeah, I think
It's
that.
sad, right?
Yes, very
Sad
sad.
to see it happening. Even with adults, I guess it's worse with adults, right? When adults are doing
Yeah,
this with other people, because children, they don't know what they're doing, right? They're crazy.
yeah,
But adults, they are already mature. They already know, right? And it's sad to see that. I think it's sad.
yeah.
And you, Julia, what do you think? Do you think bullying only takes place at schools? Why and why not?
Sorry. Me or
Can you hear
Sarah?
me? Yeah, I asked you question number 2. Do you think bullying only takes places at school or not in other places as well? And why?
No, I don't think that happen only in schools, but I think it's easier to identify when you are a kid because we commonly use the word bullying at schools, but in adult life, it's different. We don't say that someone is bullying us, but we can see that adults in work, in university, do that too. They try to be superior or exclude people that are different, with different cultures, with different characteristics. But I think that happens in all stages of our lives, not only when our kids.
That's true. I agree. What about you, Sarah? Do you think bullying only takes places at school? And why?
My opinion, we talk more about it at school because we're learning social skills, how to be around each other. And there is a discussion that is more frequent in schools. But I was here thinking about the internet. There is like the #1 place for bullying right now.
Yeah.
Because you are not physically close to that person, and somehow people think that because of this distance you are allowed to express yourself in a negative way. So yeah, definitely not only schools. The internet's another place we should, I don't know, it's not like a place free of rules and we can do whatever we want.
Of course, Sarah said something that it was a key for this topic, because cyberbullying is a serious topic. And we have a problem because people think the internet is no one's land, right? They can say anything they want because they are far from each other. And it's not like that, right? We need to be careful on what we say on the internet. We need to respect other people on the internet, right? It's not like that. So bullying happens a lot in the internet, but it shouldn't, right? Because it's wrong the same way. I totally agree with Sarah. So let's go to question number 3. How do bullies choose their victims? Why do you think that happens? So Rodrigo, how do you think bullies choose their victims?
I don't know. Maybe I think they need to have something to do and pick someone that is more I don't know, more shy, or I think they choose people that don't react about that, because if the other person has a strong react, I think the bullies will stop sometimes, I think, because I think the most of the bullies don't want to fight with the other person, just say bad things. I think that's it.
They always choose the weaker, right? Because it's what they can joke, they can say bad things, and they always choose the weaker.
Yeah,
that's it. And you, Julia, how do you think bullies choose their victims?
No, I agree with Rodrigo. I think it's the shy person that will not complain so much. People with different cultures, different bodies from the normal they are used to. But not only that, can be with anyone, but usually are these shy people.
That's it. I guess that's it, right? The shy, the fat, the little bit different, the one who wear glasses. It's always, when I was in school, it was horrible because there were a lot of different people, and there was a boy that he was crazy and he liked to say bad things to everyone who was a little bit different from him. So, for example, there was a girl who was a little bit overweight, and then he joked on her. He joked on my gay friend. So it was horrible. And it starts to become a crime sometimes, because homophobia is a crime, right? So it's crazy because people, children, just like I told you guys before, children are crazy, right? They don't know what they're doing and they think they can do anything. It's not like that, right? They can't do anything. What about you, Sarah? How do you think bullies choose their victims?
Yeah, I agree with the guys. Something that I was remembering, it is about what I usually see is if you find people frequently isolated, I think they are like an easier target for bullies, because it's easier to not defend themselves if you are alone, So I think that if you are this type of person who are usually we don't have friends around you, it could help bullies in a way. And I think that is sad, because if someone's alone, it could be a sign for a problem or a social lack of social skills, or even some mental condition. And instead of helping, they take advantage of the situation. So it is really terrible.
Yeah. And just like we mentioned before, it's even worse when they are adults, right? Because adults, they already have this maturity to recognize what is happening, and children don't have that. So that's why I guess it's more common with children. But even though it's not acceptable, right? We can't do that. But with adults, I guess it's even more sad, right? Even sadder to see this happening. Fernanda said she will come back soon. So let's go to question number 4. Sarah, how would you define bullying in your own words?
And bullying is a way to mistreat other people based on their characteristics about physical and personality personality types. So I think that 2 things: personality, if you are shy, if you are not an outgoing person, and physical stuff, like if you are overweight, you wear braces or glasses, for example, if you don't have if you have a different hair and this type of things. People are always looking and looking for something to judge, maybe. Yeah,
That's true. People love to judge, right? They love. And you, Rodrigo, how would you describe bullying in your own words?
I think it's difficult to define this, but it's about doing some people from feel bad, okay, with some problem or not, okay. I think the man the main characteristics to feel people, to make people feel bad. I think is the only intention. Okay, I think is that.
Yeah. And usually for us, like normal people, we don't see sense on that, right? Like, why do you want to make other person feel bad? It's
Yeah,
like, for me, there's no connection, right?
yeah,
I can't understand this, but I know people do this. But in my point of view, I can't understand why they do this. I know they want to make people feel bad, but why? Why do they want?
yes. There is no reason for this. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's it. And sometimes we can see that there are a lot of children that they suffered abuse in their home by their parents, and they want to reproduce these things in their school. So my father hit me, so I will hit my friend. Someone called me fat, I will call the other thin. Someone could say that I'm ugly, I will call the other person ugly. And it's not like that, right? We need to stop this change from happening. It's not good, right? And you, Julia, how would you define bullying in your own words?
I think bullying is a bad behavior that someone try to humiliate, to make the other person feel bad, intimidate, for no reason, or just to feel superior or make fun with their friends, and that can be verbal aggressions or even physical. And that's what I think.
Yeah, I guess when it's physical, it's in the highest level of it, right? Because when we say bad things, we only say it's bad, but it's not the worst part. But when it starts aggression, like real aggression, physical aggression, I guess it's the worst part and the highest level of bullying, right? It's really sad. When I was in school, I watched someone got hurt by a bully, and I guess it was I the worst experience in school because I was really sad because of him. I wasn't involved in the situation, but it really affected me because I don't think people should be treated in that way just because they're a little bit different, right? So it was really sad and really shocked me by the time. That's why I like to talk about it nowadays. So let's see. What gives bullies more power? So, Sarah, what gives bullies more power? Why do you think so?
I think the impunity, lack of punishment, it is something that usually they get away with it. I don't know like a famous story about a bully that it was like an example for others. For example, oh, they gave you a punishment and now people are being more careful about bullying at the school. I don't know. I just know some situations that I've heard, but in my perspective, many times or most of times you don't have like a punishment, and it's only like it's treated like it is a light thing when it's not. So, and also the internet, it is a place where people feel way more comfortable. So I would say these two things: the internet as a tool, because it's not the internet acts alone, right? But yeah, if you are so sure you're not going to be punished, you feel like you feel free to do whatever you want, and that is terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. They feel like if nothing's gonna happen, I can do whatever I want, right? If I won't get arrested, I can commit crimes. There's no problem. And it's not like that, right? We can't do those things. And it's horrible to see those things happening, even more because we only heard the victims part. Usually when we hear those stories related to bullying, we only know the victim. But what about the bully? Where is he? What happened to him? Like, I don't know what happened to the guy who did that in my school. I don't know what is he doing now. I know the victim. I don't know if he stopped it doing those things. I know that the guy who was the victim, he was like traumatized because he got hit by a guy in school. So I know the victim's part, but where's the bully? What happened to him, right? So we need to go for it and discover what happened, right? Find out.
Yeah, let me just add something. This when you expose only the victim, I think that is another thing very traumatic, because the bully moves on with their lives, and the victim feels ashamed of the situation, feel like, oh, everybody think I'm weak now. So yeah, that is another thing we can maybe be more careful about how we're gonna share about this experience, if the person wanna share or not. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. In this case that I mentioned, everyone knew by the time because it was in front of everyone. But the guy was really traumatized by it, and the bully, just like you said, he followed his life. He left school, he started working, and we don't know what happened to him. And I guess he wasn't punished by his actions, and it's really sad because he should be, right? And you, Rodrigo, in your opinion, what gives bullies more power? Why do you think so?
I think when the victim doesn't complain, okay, and sometimes other people's laugh about the bullying, okay, and I think, as Sarah said, it's hard to see a punishment to these people that doing bullying. I think it's important to have a hard punishment for that, for this, and because if you don't have a hard punishment, I think is not it will not finish. Okay,
Yeah.
I think the the bully is will be bigger than now if we don't have punishment. Okay.
Mhm. That's true. I totally agree with you. I think you're totally correct. Because if we don't talk about it and we don't do nothing about it, it will continue and it won't end. It won't have finished, and people will continue to do bad things to each other. So we need to discuss and we need to solve this problem, find ways to solve it. And mostly in schools, people they think it's hard to find a solution, right?
Yes,
Because it's something that happens everywhere. And mostly with kids, what can we do to prevent it? Because it's not like we need to punish the aggressor, but if he's a child, what should we do with him? Like he can be arrested for something, or
yeah,
he can do like hard punishments. We need to find solutions, and I guess it's more like to prevent the problem than to like try to find a solution after the thing happened. So that's why I think it's so important for us to talk.
yes, it's very important to prevent because, as you said, it's hard to punish a kid.
Mhm.
Okay? Yes, you're right.
That's it. And for you, Julia, what gives bullies more power? Why do you think so?
I totally agree that the lack of punish is the first thing that makes more power to them. But also, I think that be encouraged by their friends, by some group or even to the family. When I talking about kids, they heard something of the parents make fun of some type of person, so they reproduce this at school. So they are being encouraged by their parents. And I also think that some kids are not real bullies. They just are trying to call for attention. They try to be fun with their friends. So they just reproduce that, but they don't want to do that. And someday they will regret.
Mhm.
So, but I also think that other kids that we think that are real bullies at schools are just reproduce what their parents are saying at home.
Yeah. That's a huge problem in schools, guys. I have already worked in a school and we had problems with bullying, just like everywhere else. But there we had a problem, and the bully, he said to a guy that you are fat, you can't play football, you can't play soccer, you can't do anything in physical education class because you're fat. And then they called the parents, and the parents said, this kid is fat indeed. So I don't know why is he wrong to my kids. And it's, of course it's
Yeah.
wrong, like it doesn't make sense. It's not on their, it's not of their business, right? If the kid is fat and it's not of their it's none of their business. It's none of their business, so they shouldn't talk about it even though they're parents. They Adults are crazier than kids sometimes, right? So we should talk
Mm.
about it, and we should fix this problem even with adults, right? Parents are a terrible thing in schools, guys. If they defend their children with all their claws, it's the worst thing in schools. Uh, so, question number 6. At schools, why do you think teachers sometimes don't notice bullies? What can people do to fix this situation? What do you think, Rodrigo?
I think because sometimes the bullers make this behind hiding when the teachers don't is in the place, maybe in the break, on the break. It's
Mhm.
more common to have this situation. So sometimes the teacher is not near. Okay, to know to see that. Né?
Mhm.
It's the question is about to see or to about to tell.
And
Knows
yeah, it's
it's to
why do
see.
you think sometimes they don't notice? Like, because sometimes it happens, but the teacher just only, it's not only like doesn't see, but doesn't do nothing to fix the problem. Because it happens
Don't.
sometimes. They ignore the
Okay.
problem.
They ignore the problem. Okay. I I thought that it is about they don't see. Okay.
Yeah, even it not only about that. Like sometimes they don't see, they don't see, but sometimes they don't do nothing. They see, but they don't do nothing.
Okay. I think it's hard to that. to think that some teachers see some like that and don't do nothing, I think it's hard to understand. But I think they uh, if the teacher don't act in the exact moment, just to say the administration of the school administration or the parents about these comportments, behaviors, about these behaviors to the parents uh, can know and has a plan to guide the bullers and avoid this kind of behaviors. I think it's that.
Nice. That's it. I agree. I think if the problem is not solved in this small circle, it needs to go to the bigger circle, the administration, the principal. That's it. What about you, Fernanda? Now that you're back, hello. So, why do you think teachers sometimes don't notice bullies?
What's the question? Sorry.
It's question number 6.
Why do you think teachers sometimes don't notice bullies? I believe it that most of the time they don't want to see because it's not in their way, because sometimes this kind of situation, it's not in the class, it's more outside the class in the break times, cough break. It's not cough break in school, but milk break. No, but so I think sometimes the kids try to do this out of the vision of the teachers, but for sure it's in my opinion, it's easy to recognize this kind of behavior in the class too. But most of the teacher maybe don't want to deal with this because they have other things to be more that concern they. So like to teach and to do the other things. So it's more something that they think it's the parents' tasks, to deal with the kids in house and the education in the house, not for the teachers to educate the kids, the students.
Yeah, I agree with this part that it's most parents that need to educate their children. But when something wrong happens in the class, teachers must do something, right? Not educate, but punish if something is wrong. But I'm just saying that because some parents think it's the teacher's duty to educate their children.
Yeah.
So, and it's crazy because imagine a class with 30 students and the teacher needs to educate students. Madness, right?
I believe classes that are little, like 15 and 20 students, maybe the teacher have more attention, be more attention for the students. But like in our structure for the education in Brazil, that sometimes we have like 40 students in one class. So it's impossible the teacher deal with all these kind of stuff that in the class. So yeah.
That's totally true. Public education here in Brazil is getting worse every day because the classes are getting bigger. Like I have already seen a class with 60 students. So imagine 60 students, like 13 years, 14 years, and they are like, okay, I can do whatever I want in my school because I am a teenager. I am cool, so I can play. I don't need to learn things. I'm in school to play with my friends. And it's not like that. Imagine just one teacher with 60 students who thinks just like that. And it's crazy, right? Because we can't deal with that many people. And education in Brazil it's a huge problem, guys. Fernanda mentioned it, and I need to agree with her. It's a huge problem. The number of students in one class, it's a huge problem. And to solve bullying in these cases, it's harder because sometimes we don't see, because there are a lot of kids and it's impossible to see each problem. And sometimes it happens, but how can we stop everything we're doing to fix one specifically problem? Because we need to teach a whole classroom. If we don't follow the schedule, people get mad at you. So it's a really hard situation, right?
Mm-mm.
And you, Julia, why do you think sometimes teachers don't notice bullies?
No, I agree with Fernanda. I think sometimes teachers are too busy. They are deal with a lot of things. They have so much students, so they cannot notice all the behaviors. And also because the bully can happen in the break period or going out school, So I think the teachers only notice when this happen at the class and when a real fight happen, no, not only physical but verbal. But then it's difficult to know who started the fight. So they punish the two persons involved, not only the person who started. And it's difficult to believe who started, who is saying the truth, no?
Yeah. Because everyone will defend themselves, right? No, he started. No, he started. But sometimes we can't know who started, who really started, right?
Yeah,
It's hard.
I don't know.
What about you, Sarah? Why do you think teachers sometimes don't notice bullies?
Yeah, in my opinion, everyone brought great points about attention, how it's hard to see everything that happens in a classroom. I was here thinking about the background. For example, if you are someone who came from a family that is, don't know, some families don't even notice bullying. That is the truth. For them, it's like, oh, you are saying that is bullying. This is bullying, but that happened with me my whole life and I didn't die. So it's a type of speech that encourages bullying, I think, because if you are thinking that saying that is not such an important thing, people are like, okay, I'm gonna continue doing it. And if you are a teacher who comes from a family with this type of thinking, bullying could happen right in front of you and you don't notice because you didn't learn that was wrong. You learn that it's just a normal comment that kids make to have fun and it's not such a big deal. So it's important to think about the education of the teachers as well, because if you learn that is okay, maybe you need to relearn, to receive different perspectives on the subject. If they have, for example, school shootings, they're going to ask the teachers, the principal, about how was that student, because usually it's related to bullying. So you have a huge responsibility in your hands as a teacher, for sure.
Yes, of course. You brought a really interesting point with the school shootings, because in USA, bullying sometimes takes to that level that people start shooting schools, right? And it's crazy because we need to prevent that. It's related to our lives, and it's hard for the students, for the teachers, and it's a huge problem, mostly in the USA. So people need to talk about it, and their bullying, it's a huge problem. And we don't have this educational problem just like we have here in Brazil with 60 students in one classroom. They have a really nice public education, but it's better than here. But they have this problem of bullying, and most of the people, they think, just like Sarah said, they think that it's okay, it's just a joke, they're kidding, they're children, they can do this thing. And it's not like that. We need to talk about it, we need to solve this problem so we can prevent harder things to happen, right? That's it. And guys, do you think a bully can also be a victim? How does that happen? Have you ever seen a situation like that? Personally, I believe yes, because just like I told you, most of the times the bully suffers aggressions in their home. So they need to, so they go to school, they go to their work, they go to their places to deal with other people, and they need to reproduce the same thing they suffer at their house. So I guess it's they are also a victim most of the time. Sometimes they're just mean, but most of the times they also suffer aggressions. But what about you, Fernanda? Do you think a bully can also be a victim?
If I have ever been a victim.
No, number 7. Do you think a bully can also be a victim?
Not in the same time. So maybe the person have been victim for a bullying some years early and earlier. Yeah, it's not I believe it don't have a standard, uma regra. How can I say regra?
A rule.
Yeah, a rule for this. But yeah, I believe that it's possible that a victim of the bullying be the person that will start to make bullying and bad behavior of the others, just like to punish the others because he suffer with this or she suffer with this. So yeah, I believe it's possible too.
And have you ever seen a situation like that?
I don't remember in my college but I believe sometimes it's possible, like someone that's like fat or something like that, and after some years the person changed the body because they are like teenagers. Everything is possible. So after a few years, the person be more stronger or must have muscles and started to do bullying with the other that was it was like him. So yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. What about you, Julia? Do you think a bully can also be a victim? How does that happen? Have you ever seen a situation like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. They can be bullied at home or from other kids, and they just reproduce that. They feel bad, so they try to make other person feel bad too, because I don't know, they think that will make they feel better. And I think I saw at school that was a kid that was the most bully of all, and he suffered abuse at home. So I think that's why the motive that he tried to humiliate other people, because he felt that at home. So he was just trying to pass this from to other person.
To make the person feel the same thing as he was feeling, right? I guess
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, it's hard. And what about you, Rodrigo? Do you think a bully can also be a victim?
Yes, I think it can be. As Julia said, I think all the bully is start before. I think the people just pass, okay, because I think one person that has a feeling has a good feelings, don't do bullying with another person. Okay, I think it's a feeling that you you feel about some about another situation, okay, like at home or some like that, and you try to pass this to another person, okay. So maybe one person you feel is more weak than you, and and maybe you feel more strong or something like that. Okay, I think
Mhm.
it's about that.
That's it. I agree with you. And there are some people that they got hurt and then they feel better hurting other people, right?
Yeah.
It's bad and it's sad. And you, Sarah, do you think a bully can also be a victim? Have you ever seen a situation like that?
Yeah, I believe so. It is possible. I think Rodrigo mentioned something that very important, that is like a cycle, you know, it's not like, oh, today I woke up and decided to be mean. No, you have some things happening in your mind before that, you know. Um, I never lived a situation like that, but I watched the video about mother of one of the guys, the shooters in Columbine school. That is a famous case, and she said that her son felt like at home he received love, he received support, but at school he was isolated. So when he found another person that it was kind of an outsider just like him, he connected to this person, so he felt accepted, you know. So uh, I think that when unfortunately the person that he find wasn't like a good person, right, they did a lot of uh, they caused a lot of suffering and pain. But yeah, I think that when these people find someone to be around, even they don't even, sometimes they don't realize they are not good influences. There's like peer pressure, you know, you have a group, if you accept it and you are willing to do whatever it takes to be a part of that group. And I don't know, I think it is a psychological matter as well, and not only about, oh, I think you are ugly. No, it's a whole different story.
Mhm. That's totally true. And sometimes they don't even want to be accepted. They just want to revenge themselves, right? They were mad at me, they don't accept me. So in that case of Columbine school, they just start shooting schools, right? So it was a craziness because they weren't accepted. They were, just like said, outsiders. They didn't want to be accepted. They were just angry, and they wanted to kill the ones who didn't accept them. So it's a craziness because people shouldn't think like that, right? It's not like you need to change yourself to be accepted, but people should include everyone in their circle, not like be best friends, but be polite to everyone, talk to everyone, because we're all people, right? So what's the problem to say, hello, how are you, what's your name, like in Muslim schools, right? Because you are going to be with that person all year long. So I guess it's nice for you to be nice with other people, right? So guys, I guess we have time for one more question. So we stopped at question number 7, right? So let's go to question number 8. Have you ever been a victim of bullying? What happened? Did anybody help you? In my case, I have never been, but a lot of friends of mine, they suffered in school, and because I have a gay friend, and it was horrible for him in his childhood because everybody joked at him because of his sexuality, and he hated it, and he was traumatized by that. Until today, he needs therapy. So I am still a friend of him, and he still suffered from that. So I've never been, but I have a close friend who has. So it's sad, guys. And what about you, Julia? Have you ever been a victim of bullying or not?
Yes, but for real silly motives. When I was 11, my father died, and that was a girl that kept saying, "Ah, your father died. That's so fun." It was no reason for that, and she kept saying that, but my friends helped me. And the weirdest part is that the father of that kid was died too a few years ago. So I don't know why she think that was fun that my father died too, and she acts like was cool, keeping saying that to me, that make her feel better some way, and makes no sense to me, but was very, very horrible.
I can imagine. Horrible. Why did she do that? It doesn't make sense, right? Because what's the reason, right?
Yeah.
And you, Fernanda, have you ever been a victim of bullying? Not.
Yeah, I remember that in my seventh grade, it's like 12 years old, I believe it. I started to study in a private particular school, but I had not the same status of all the students. I gained a burst, how we can say, bolsa.
A discount, right?
Yeah, I had a discount of my note, my grade, so I didn't have the same status of all the students. And I remember one time my mom gave me a backpack that it's a little accessory like the Kipling, but it's not was the Kipling that's so expensive. It's like a dog that imita Kipling, you know. That is a monkey. Kipling is a monkey. And so I remember a lot of people in my class started to, oh, it's not a Kipling. You know, it's so hard. And I loved this dog, you know, but in my mind, it's not, fuck, what is Kipling? You know, I don't want. But for them, it's everything. It's about brand, good things. So I remember this phase. Yeah.
As you can see, we always remember, right? When we suffer those things, if it was with us or with closer people to us, we always remember. So another remember the dog. So it's something that it's crazy, right? We should talk more about it because it stays on us, right? And what about you, Sarah? Have you ever been a victim of bullying?
Yeah, it's not a small situation. We remember the details as it's not something that is not meaningful, you know. Yeah, when I was 11, I changed school and started studying at another place. And believe or not, the director did this with me. He was a teacher. He was in the classroom because the teacher wasn't there for some reason that I don't remember. But I was wearing an accessory like I don't know how to say that you put here on the hair. Tiara.
Like a tiara.
Tiara. Thank you. And it has like patterns like Africa, like it was like a oncinha, something like that. And I was a kid. I had no sanction of fashion whatsoever. And he was like, "Oh, you are you are even beautiful, but this tiara is not good because we have a pattern here." And he started to say that I didn't fit for that pattern that these standards that the school had, and I felt terrible because it was in front of the entire classroom, you know, and I cried. I felt so ashamed of the accessory that I was wearing. And I used to straighten my hair, so I felt uncomfortable about all my insecurities about this, my look, you know, my looks. And my mother, Mama Bear, I told her, and she went to the school and talked with him. She even wrote down everything she needed to say to him, like, it was disrespectful, you shouldn't say things like that, you are even beautiful, you know, these type of things. And he apologized to me in front of the whole classroom. So I think that was at least decent from him. But like you said, the experience remains with us. So it's not like something small, right? So, but
Yeah.
at least he apologized.
And even
Yeah,
worse,
good.
because he's an adult, right? He was the principal of the school. He shouldn't say something like that, even more in front of the whole classroom. It's totally wrong.
Everybody needs a mom bear.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, I guess even more in these situations, right? Because our family is the one who supports us the most, right? Our family. And Rodrigo, what about you? Have you ever been a victim of bullying?
Yes, I don't remember when I was kid, but I think there are some. Okay, not so hard that I cry and like this, but some little things like at work, some people say that I have a big head, even today. Okay, so it's not so hard, but I think it's bullying. Some people sometimes don't like and sometimes cry about that, but like for me, it's a joke, and I don't care about that, but I think it's a kind of bullying.
Mhm.
Even I don't matter, but I think it's not good because you don't know what the other person feels. Okay, sometimes the people laugh that time, but when arrive at home, cry or something like that. So I think it's not a good behaviors.
Of course, that's horrible. When I was a kid, people like to talk things about my nose because it's big, right? And I didn't like by that time. I didn't consider it bullying because I just ignored it. Nowadays, I want to do a surgery in my nose because I don't like it. But yeah, but I didn't like by that time. But I wasn't really angry about it. I didn't cry. I felt uncomfortable. So I get your point. Like you see, it's bullying because you feel uncomfortable people talking about the side of your head. So it's I guys, we shouldn't talk about other people's appearance, right? People should look in the way that they want, and it's something that there are some things that we can change. We're born like that. Everyone is beautiful
Yeah,
in the way that they are. So I don't think why people talk about people's appearance. It doesn't make sense to me. Talk about your own life, right? Your experiences. You don't need to talk about other people's appearance.
yeah.